T the style for the style. Nah, we back at T, the native nigga, the modern day native nigga, whichever one. He said, man, why you keep on changing your name, man? Where you been at? I've been incognito right now, man. It's just been hard times. It's like when you start to set plans for particular things, then other things come into play where it stops you from doing the things that you really want to do, which is called being lost in this illusion of the system that we live by. Because a lot of us, myself included, live by a certain mindset of where I thought I could live in the system without using the system. So in other words, I thought I could live without the system while living in the system. I can't live within the system without using the system. And I can't live without the system without using the system to get me to a point to live without the system, if that makes any sense. It may not. Got my personal rolled up cigarette. Nothing better. But in these times, man, like I've been telling my wife, I need my mint in my backer. That's all cigarettes was back in the day to the native people, to the indigenous people of America and all around the countries. It was dried mint and dried tobacco, which organically would nothing be really wrong with that. We didn't need to have nicotine and menthol and a manufactured version of this or that. We just took the herbs that we naturally came across in the environment and utilized them. So, and within this environment that we live in now, which is the inner cities, still out here in Louisville right now. My wife, she at work right now. So we didn't have to come back down here and basically get back into the feng shui of things from living in Illinois, where we were just at, where I started my YouTube channel with my little podcast room and shit like that. So it is what it is. I knew everything was going to be coming to an end. We didn't get evicted or nothing like that. We just choosing to live without some of these other things that people think we need to utilize to live. But in reality, we just all searching for our little bit of comfort. So if we gotta be uncomfortable to get to a comfortable point, that's what we're gonna have to do. Hopping on the expressway. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hop off right here, actually, give me some gas. Gas to be reasonable. Yep. So right now, we're in the process of doing the same thing that we originally said that we were trying to do, which is just live on the road. So now I'm in the process of acquiring my CDLs so we can take our road trip to the next level. And I was thinking, if I do all this driving and all this right now, why not just try to acquire my CDL and get paid to drive? And in the process of that, I could be working on living without the system. So with that being said, there's a lot of things that's been going on, just economically, just mentally, spiritually, health-wise. A lot of things that's not with me particularly, but just the overall energy of my close family, my relatives, and different things like that. I would say, bitch, move, pull the fuck off. What are you doing? The fuck? Bitch, move. Move. Damn, you just sitting there. I hate when people just act so goddamn stupid and damn honorary. Bitch, the gas station already packed. Why not just goddamn move out the way? If you wasn't even getting gas, why are you sitting here texting and shit? Man, get the fuck out the way. I'll put this on pause. We're gonna come back as soon as I come out the gas. We back at T. I'm really gonna, from now on, my new AKA is I'm going by this. I'm gonna switch my channel name one more last time, even though I didn't say it, to the Native Nigga, and that's what it's gonna be. What can we prepare for? I say I'm trying to be more of a motivational speaker, more of an inspirational speaker, more of a life guidance coach. And I'm not saying that I have everything in my life squared away to where I want to be, but I feel and I believe that those are the best people to take not necessarily advice for, but to learn from their experiences through their perspective of how they explain it. So a lot of people just try to explain all the good that's going on, and a lot of people always tell you, oh yeah, I used to be going through this, I used to be going through that, but you don't ever really get to see it. What I'm going through right now, a lot of people would call us homeless, a lot of people would call us down bad, but what we ain't down bad on, what we ain't lacking is hope. We ain't lacking stability. We ain't lacking our mental capabilities, because like when we came back down here just recently, and since we've been back down here, we see all day, every day, people on the corner holding up signs. Our car was just broke down where we needed a new starter. I guess we could say that it's still goddamn in the process of needing something else done to it, even though it's running for the most part. Learn some tricks of the trade. But we had got broken down. We had got broken down, and we was across the bridge where I had showed y'all one time where we was slept in our car a couple nights over there, just camping out of the car across the bridge. But since we had came back, we had got our car had broke down. It stopped, and at that point, I'm thinking we maybe need a jump or something like that. So we had been sitting out there for a couple of hours, and then a young couple around our age, around my age, came through and asked us if we need some help. He came back, brought some jumper cables, did that. It didn't work. Shit, he was going out of his way to help us in the process. We didn't fuck around, took the whole battery, my whole battery out of my car. He done drove me down to O'Reilly so we can get a full charge on it to see if it was a battery. Came back, that didn't work. Tried a few other things, and ultimately that didn't get us where we need to be that night. Our car was still not running. So in the process of that, we obviously finna have to camp out here another night, even though we wasn't planning on sleeping out there no more. Because prior to that, when we was there, the police had came by and it was just letting us know that the park was closed and shit like that. So we just took it upon ourselves, like, okay, we ain't gonna sleep out here no more since the police like that. But just so happening this time now, fast forward back to where our car is broken down, back at the same spot. So now our car been broke down for a few hours now. Well, it's nighttime now, so shit, our car had been broke down damn near since about 2, 3, 4 o'clock. A young police officer, probably around my age. He looked like he was mixed, but he was black or mixed or something. He was mixed, more urban, shall I say. He was coming over there talking to me, giving me a couple of things, seeing what was going on, basically trying to help us out. So I told him, explained our situation. So he was like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all stay here tonight. I ain't going to sweat y'all out or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, appreciate it, man. Because you see, I have my family with me anyway. So we wasn't harming anything. So he ended up letting us stay there, letting us know, like, yeah, if y'all have any problems, just give me a call. I'll come over here and help y'all out, or get some people away from y'all if anything was happening. So overly supportive, that's what I'm trying to get to. The police, the young dude that came over there was overly supportive of us, and then said he was gonna come check on us the next morning. So the next morning rolled over, talking to my family, my uncle, a truck driver, he ended up sending me some money to get a starter. this was like from a used auto park from where we was at. So, and let mind you, our car not working, so everything is damn near an hour walking distance away from where we could potentially fix it ourselves. So the whole time I'm out there the next morning, I'm trying to take out the starter. So I end up getting it down to just about the starter out there, and then the other guy, the young guy that said he's gonna come back and check on us the next morning, eventually came back out there and was asking like, oh, I thought your uncle was gonna come out here and help you. I had to tell him like, oh, he on the road right now, so only thing that he could do is send me a little money. So he was just letting us know what it was, and he was just telling us like, yeah, well, other police officers out there might not be as lenient, or they might not be as cool and let me stay out there. And he went to where they can ultimately have my car towed and a whole bunch of other bullshit. So ultimately I said, okay, cool. I had to make a couple more calls, and then got a little more assistance from my grandmother or whatnot. So we had to scrape up whatever we had, so now we had to get towed back to Louisville, because we were now across the bridge in Indiana. So Louisville to Indiana is just one bridge away. So basically 10 minutes depending on where you at in Louisville to get you over into Indiana. As simple as that. So that's where we had to get towed back to. So that costed a few $100s to get us towed back to what we was at in Louisville. But at that point our car was still broken down. So we had ultimately sat out there. I had been working on the car for at least 2-3 days and just sleeping out there, having to just make it do what it do. Had to walk to certain places, the stores to get food, different little shit like that. End up going to the mall a few times in the process. And I really did want to record that process, but just the overthinking and the over stress of everything being so surreal. It's not that I was like ashamed of it, but it was like, it's too real. I'm the type of person, when something's so real, I don't never record it. But when it's like lax, where you're like, okay, if something happened while I'm recording, perfect. But most of the times I don't choose to pick up a phone and start recording out of sympathy or sorrow. So that's exactly why I didn't do it. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want people to think like, oh, why you ain't do this, why you ain't do this, when we doing whatever exactly how we want to. Now the shit that happens to us in the process of that is something of itself. So it's only so far we can throw ourselves into this world before something gets thrown back at us, shall I say. So we have been sitting out there a few days. I've been working on the car. We've been taking little trips, walking to get to where we need to get to. And in the process of that, it was one night, one evening, and it was a truck driver. And where we were staying at, like a little community center building and stuff like that, so we were relatively safe, even though we was in the middle of the neighborhood, Newburgh. We was out there in Newburgh Community Center. We was out there, and the truck driver was coming. I guess he stayed around there somewhere, but he was dropping off his rig and getting out his truck to go walk around the corner to where he at. So he had walked up to us, black dude, and asked me like, "What's going on?" I told him the situation, and basically he got the And basically he got the just explaining. Hey, if y'all need anything, I can help y'all out. Woo out the band. Like I'm always trying to help somebody out here. That's what put me on to the CDLs. Like you should really get into this right now at this point in time. You like shit, you get a free place to stay and yada yada this and yada yada. So I'm thinking about them. It's the same thing I'm doing. I'm already driving around. I'm already sleeping in a car. Why the fuck not just go get my CDLs and me knowing that my uncle had already been into truck driving for at least 10 years now. So I was already taking that into consideration. It was just my license, and a lot of that shit at that time was just so stupid, especially with the pandemic and all of that shit, where as far as you don't get physical copies of your ID no more, and they gotta mail you this half and mail you this half. That shit is just so fucking confusing, and it's just a hindrance for people that's actually trying to be productive and get shit done on a timely manner. So at the end of the day, he ended up saying like, okay, cool, if y'all gonna be out here tonight, I'm like, yo, shit, we ain't going nowhere. My car can't move. He's like, next morning I'm gonna come, I'm gonna look out for you. I gotta stop by the bank, water bank. So that was a blessing in disguise. And all this happened in a matter of 2 days. Let me get it out. I don't know. I ain't went to go get it checked out, but I did all of the basic tests to see if it was real or not. And this happened in the midst of that. My daughter was playing with the tools and had dropped one of the little pieces of tools. So I was looking for a what I was looking for? I was looking for a little goddamn wrench piece. And looking through the dirt right by our car, right where I had the tow truck drop us off, I find a goddamn diamond in the rough. They said, what? I found a diamond in the rough, my friend. Oh, y'all might not even be able to see it that good. I found a diamond in the rough. In the dirt. I done set this bitch on fire for 30 seconds and put that shit in a bottle of water. And they say if it's cubic zirconium, this is the ultimate test. If you set it on fire for 30 seconds and then drop it in water, it's gonna explode. Where it's gonna explode from the inside out. I set this bitch on fire for 30 fucking seconds, put it in that water, nothing happened. I done scratched glass with it, every goddamn thing. I just still have not yet took it to see if it's actual, how many carats it is. A diamond in the rough. If it ain't worth nothing, I guess it inspired us to go harder. So even if it ain't worth nothing, I'm still gonna keep it, as far as this might just be a lucky gemstone that we found, because it gave us a little more oomph to think when we found a diamond in the rough. And then come to find out, a couple hours after we find this, that's when the truck driver dude came and said what he said. So ultimately the next morning he came out there. I was working on the car, and he came out there and brought us a whole bunch of, not a whole bunch, but he brought us a nice amount of food, some food for my baby, some juice for the baby, some little lunch meat, some sandwiches and shit, some chips, and then gave us $160 right then off the humbug. So it gave us $200 worth of food and the money, and just told me like, just keep going, don't give up, and the goddamn like, time's gonna get hard, but shit, it is people out here that's willing to help you. And we wasn't begging, we wasn't looking like we necessarily didn't have nothing, because the car we got is an up-to-date model of a car. So I'm not saying nothing like that, but I'm saying, like, as far as we not just out here just doing drugs, or just out here got our child homeless, or whatever the fuck people may think. No, we actually on a different type of awakening. So after he ended up giving us the money, and that I would continue to working on the car, and literally, like, no lie, 1 hour after this, it was this dude. I guess we was parked in front of in the back of his house, depending, from where the community center is at. So we was parked on the back of his house. And I guess he had said he'd been sitting out there for a couple of days with he's working on the car and whatnot. So I guess he was riding his lawnmower, cutting his neighbor's yard and cutting his yard. So he had stopped and asked me what was going on. I told him that I'm trying to take the starter out because I'm trying to do this and do that. And he said, what makes you think it's a starter? I said, well, I did this and I did that. So he ended up knowing more about cars than I did, so that ultimately helped me. So what he actually did is brought me the tools. We ended up taking the starter completely off. So I had to take the battery out. I took the air filter out. I took the goddamn all of that shit on the left side, the air filter, compressor, the battery. I took that battery out, all that shit getting down into that damn the starter. Took the starter out. Once we took the starter out, he gave me a ride. Gave me a ride up to AutoZone. Looked into his, tried to test the starter to see if it was a bad or good starter. And I guess it was a bad starter. So ultimately, me just being me, and we having general man conversation in the process of us going to these auto shops and seeing, he ended up purchasing the whole starter for a car for me. I didn't ask him. It came out of nowhere, but purchased the starter for me, helped me get it come back. We put it on in the rain, and then it still didn't work. So I'm like, damn, this man just bought me a starter and the car still didn't start. But he knew tricks of the trade. So now, for the time being right now, I have to put the car in neutral And then right where the starter is at is a little plastic cap that was on there, but now the cap is not on there. So it's these wires that with these two metal cylinders, wire cylinder weights. So I stick this screwdriver, the metal part of it. When it touched both of them, it starts the car in neutral. So this is the only way I've been starting my car for probably about the last week now, ever since this didn't happen. But tricks of the trade, I never knew that. It worked. It turned on just like a damn push to start. I just gotta open the hood, put it in neutral, and do it. So it's a little bit weird to do. So I don't be trying to turn it off as much as I would turn it off if I had the key, obviously. But he ended up buying me the starter, helping me put it back in, teaching me how to turn the car on with the starter. And then he swapped me out batteries. He took my old battery. My battery had a date of 2019. His battery had a date of 2022. So he had just bought that battery sometime this year. He swapped me out battery. I said, man, you sure about that? He said, oh yeah, I just get another battery. Gave me his whole battery out his car. Gave me the jump. Gave me the know-how of what to do in this situation. And then gave me some goddamn business and tips as far as going into the cleaning business and being a franchisee of a cleaning business and how much it takes and being able to get contracts and different things like that. So a lot of the times I was more down. I was real just depressed before a lot of these things happened. And not because of the situation, it's because of as much information that I know. I was disappointed in myself that I am not further. I'm still disappointed right now that I'm not further than what I need, than I think I should be right now. Even though I'm ahead of a lot of men that at this age, they were not even this close to thinking like I'm thinking now. And I'm not talking about nobody. I'm talking about people that I know personally, my uncle and so forth and so on. And this is why my wife keeps telling me don't stress it out and everything happens for a reason and you can do it on your own time. So I'm glad that I got a wife that's supportive of me and not necessarily pushing me to, oh, you need to go get a job, you need to go do this, why you ain't did this, why you ain't did that. When she know that I've been putting my all into our career as far as not working for somebody else, but doing what it takes and sacrificing my time to make sure that we as a married young couple can thrive in this new world. So like I said, right now, what she going back to work for is something that she want to go back to work for, as far as something that we need. So she want to go to work for us to be able to invest in our car more so we can get on the road. And in the process of that, I'm getting everything squared away with my trying to get my physical copy of my driver's license and do all that bullshit so I can then take the truck driving school so I can get my CDL. So then once I get my CDL, then it's a lot of different driving jobs that you can get. And that's why I'm so damn near disappointed in myself. Like, I've been driving for a few years now. I said, damn, I feel like I'm just 5 years behind, but I only been really driving about 3-4 years. But I feel like I should have been one of them people that's one of them young dudes that got their own little business with a little truck or some equipment or working for the cable company or some bullshit like that, you know. And it is what it is. And maybe if I would have been that person that I think I want to be, I wouldn't have been the person who I know I am now. So I ain't mean to be too long-winded. We're gonna get back at it. We're gonna do a lot of these different. I'm gonna be implementing a lot of different entertainment. As much entertainment as possible, as far as just the funny times, the lighthearted times of living without certain things that we feel that make us a complete person. So we gone. Tiva La Star for the Star, not a native nigga. We out. Appreciate y'all.